Pregame.com.
Pregame.tv breaking down the Monday Night Football action here. Great game. Saints leave the Dome. They go to Seattle. They're catching 5.5, 6 points, total 46.5 on this marquee matchup of two teams that are just having a tremendous year. Brady Kannon, two best teams in the NFC right here?
Yes. And I probably, yes, they are the best. I give San Francisco maybe just a slight downgrade from New Orleans.
I actually have San Francisco half a point better than New Orleans. But all three of those teams are right there. How much is the home field worth in a game like this with the crowd just absolutely crazy?
Well, what's interesting is you have two teams that probably have a couple of the greatest home field advantages in all of football. Seattle certainly at least 3.5, maybe a 4. And what I like about the NFL, you think it's bigger than that? You go 5, huh?
I'll go 5 against in a frenzied crowd against a top competitor.
There you go.
If they're playing Tampa Bay maybe 3.5.
See, I always. And I like how you're taking that into consideration, and I like how I learn things about handicapping constantly, because I always make my home field advantage constant. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense. You know, Minnesota comes in there, the crowd isn't as fired up as if the New Orleans Saints come in there. What I was going to say, though, is I love how the NFL has done this scheduling where you get two of the top teams. They had to know that these were going to be two of the top teams. And what do? They give New Orleans a Thursday night game. So they've got extra time to prepare, and they give Seattle a bye week. So both of these teams are going to come in pretty fresh. Ought to be a great contest.
Yeah, you know, one thing about this is that if the Saints want any chance for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, they have to win.
Right.
Seattle, yeah, they're probably going to get it regardless. You know, they'd like to get this game. But I still think that I just can't see the Saints being able to go in there and win. However, the great equalizer with the 6-point spread, I think that now it's being priced, because I do have Seattle the better team, and I know that you don't make money betting against Seattle in their home stadium unless it's a really, really bad situation. But one thing about the total here, and of course Seattle has the great defense, seems to me every Sunday and Monday night games go over, and there's it's just like, look at that Denver-New England game.
Sure.
Weird stuff happens on Monday night. Can you explain why all the scoring?
Well, you know, that Monday, or the Sunday night game rather, with Denver and New England, I think a big factor there was weather and the turnovers. And obviously it gave Denver opportunities early, and they took advantage of them and scored. Then the Patriots really buckled down. Some tremendous, incredible coaching by Belichick and a performance by Brady. And, you know, sure enough, it ended up, you know, them coming back and getting their points as well. And Denver already had 30, 20-something points to begin with off of turnovers. So I think that's how that one happened. Now, last night, we didn't see much scoring at all, and that's because Washington didn't live up to their end of the bargain.
Yeah, and I think that Harbaugh off of a loss, you write that one down. If you did nothing but bet the team total of his opponent under after a loss, you're 10-1. Your only loser is Indianapolis. Got a late touchdown when San Francisco turned the ball over, I think on downs on their own 8-yard line with 2 minutes to play. So Indy got over. You really should be 11-0 with that trend, and that's one I'll certainly continue to bet. But here in this case, I'm looking over the total. More so, I just think the Monday night craziness, I think it kind of makes sense. If I'm a playmaker on defense, instead of playing back and playing it safe, I go for the pick 6. Sometimes I get it. Most of the time I don't. More big plays.
Well, what really fuels the Seattle offense is Marshawn Lynch, and the weakness of the Saints defense is against the run. So if Seattle has success there, and we know the Saints are going to get their scoring, I'm on it.
Let me go ahead and make it official here. All right, I see Russell Wilson as very much a game manager when he goes on the road, keeps it conservative, they win the game. But when Seattle's at home, they open it up a little bit. They've had some crazy higher scoring games. I think back in the San Francisco game they played early in the year, it's 5-0. Seattle 5 goals or 5 runs. Midway through the third quarter, you blink and all of a sudden, boom, it's the game's exploding in Seattle touchdowns. I see something similar possibly happening here where they really open it up a lot. One guy that I very much respect, Scott Spreitzer, has been on a lot of select Seattle overs at home, and it does seem like this team just finds a way, maybe not statistically, but with that ball hawking defense and the like, and opening up the game more. They certainly score a lot more points. We know Drew Brees and company going to get their share of points in this dome. Though they should get to 24. I think over 46 looks solid, and it like every Monday night game, the money's going to come on the over. I would bet this one now. Don't wait. I think it just keeps rising higher and higher.
All right, Steve Fezzik going with over the total in the Monday night affair between the Seattle Seahawks and the New Orleans Saints. You'll have to wait a few days after the Thanksgiving holiday for this one. We gave you a couple of Thursday games, a Friday game, and then a Monday game, so we've spread it out nicely for everybody.
Yes, absolutely, and a lot of good games on tap. You know, it's interesting, we talk about the best teams in the NFC, clearly being New Orleans and Seattle. However, Crabtree is coming back for the 49ers. And I have to say, once he is back and give him a week or two to get his sea legs back in the Bay Area, I think that San Francisco easily is going to be the best team in the NFC by the time we go into the playoffs. And in fact, I just bet R.J. Bell and Brian Leonard dinner that they are going to win it all. And I gave them the field. So the 49ers are my pick.
Wow.
And they said, where's dinner going to be? And I said, Circus Steakhouse. RJ said, I want to go Del Frisco's. And they said, no, we're going to limit this one. Obviously, it's a dumb bet because they're like a 4-1 underdog right now in futures odds. But I just like to be controversial. So the boys, Brian Leonard and RJ Bell, taking me to dinner when my 49ers get over the Super Bowl hangover, which I think they had for the first half of the year. And I look at their two losses. Gano hits a 53-yarder for Carolina, and the refs cheat him against Drew Brees and the aforementioned New Orleans Saints. But in this game on Monday night, I think we go ahead and have a winner on the over.
Well, like I mentioned before the pick was made official there, I think Marshawn Lynch is going to be able to find some holes against that Saints running defense. I love the Saints defense, but if they have one weakness, it's against the run. And if Marshawn Lynch can run, that'll open things up for Russell Wilson. We know the Saints are going to get theirs. I like the angle you've taken here.
If we have a weakness, we are the B team because we are without. Vegas Runner VR continues to rock and roll in the money in the LVH contest, a solid 3-2. And I know he's, I think, top 8 right now, just a few games out. And come on, VR, keep going. I know you don't. VR is ducking us because he doesn't want to give away his really good stuff because he wants to keep moving up in that contest. But we miss him, so we are the B team without him. If you want the A team, of course, tomorrow, senior handicapper Marco D'Angelo goes ahead and hosts. He's got Ken Thompson. He's got Brian Leonard. They'll be breaking down football, and more football for you. Believe me, we'll get to the NBA, we'll get to college basketball, but until December, it's football time. Thanks for joining us each and every week, pregame.tv.